plus 2. Find f inverse of x and domain. Yes, welcome back to the class. This is the second question for the assignment, Math 120 assignment. We have to find inverse. Class, this symbol means inverse. If they say f raised to the minus 1 of x, it means inverse of, and we also have to find the domain of x plus 2 all over square root x squared minus 9. Math 120 assignments. Yes, you can have your phone. Thank you. I think I've written all the question now. Thank you. So, class, let's start with the inverse of a function. Follow me. Let's give you the steps you follow to find the inverse of a function. Let's give you the steps to follow to find the inverse of a what? Class. If I was in an exam hall, I'll say of x equals to x plus 1 all over x plus 2. I'll say y equals to x plus 1 all over x plus 2. I'll cross multiply and y into bracket x plus 2 equals to x plus 1. Expand bracket yx plus 2y equals to x plus 1. I want to make x to the formula. I'll bring x to this side, bring y to this side. Yx minus x equals to 1 minus 2y. Factorize x here, we have y minus 1 equals to 1 minus 2y. Divide both sides by y minus 1. X now equals to 1 minus 2y all over y minus 1. And therefore, inverse of the function equals to 1 minus 2x all over x minus 1. Final answer. If I was in the exam, if I was not teaching anybody, I'm done. If the exam is OBJ, don't look for A, B, C, pick your answer and go your way. But I'm teaching, I cannot be fast like this. I have to calm down to explain to you. Now follow me this. F of x equals to x plus 1 all over x plus 2. Thank God solution as well. I'll just be showing you, Abby. Completing all the solution, it just be showing f of x equals to x plus 1 all over x plus 2. Class, step 1 in finding inverse of a function. How do you know you are being asked to find inverse of a function when you see this sign, f raised to the minus 1? When you are given a function and asked to find f raised to the minus 1 of x, it means find the inverse of the... Right now, step 1, inverse of a function, step 1. Replace f of x with y. Replace f of x with what? Y. Let f of x be equal to y. Let's put it that way. Let f of x be equal to y. Let f of x be equal to what? Y. Let f of x be equal to y. So class, if you notice, the question said f of x equals to x plus 1 all over x plus 2. After each rule, I'll show you where I applied it in the board, on the board. Are you there? Remember the question started with f of x equals to x plus 1 over x plus 2. Are you seeing? But all of a sudden, instead of f, I'm now using what? I'm now using y. I've replaced f of x with what? So y now equals to x plus 1 over x plus. From f of x, I went to what? So y now equals to x plus 1 over x plus. I've obeyed the first rule. Step 2. Make x subject of the formula. Make x subject of the... Step 2. Make x subject of the what? Step 2. Make x subject of the... And the last step. Step 3. Interchange the positions of x and y. Interchange the positions of what? Interchange the positions of x and... Step 1, I said what? Let f of x be equal to y. Step 1, let f of x be equal to y. Step 2, make x subject of the formula. Step 3, interchange the position of x and... Class, let me use a simple example first. Look up. Look. Don't be tired. You're looking so tired. This school send me. F of x equals to 3x plus 5. Let me not give you a fraction, because this is a quotient question. This question is in quotient form, class. But this is a linear function. This is a linear... That's quotient. Follow me, follow me, follow me. If I'm teaching you topic, I'll start with a linear function first. The assignment goes to the top of normal lecturer. Take simple example, give tough assignment, normal. But this is a simple one you should start with. F of x equals to 3x plus 5. Step 1 says, instead of f, put what? Y equals to 3x plus. I've obeyed step 1. Step 2, make x subject of the... So how do you make x subject of the formula? Let what we'll do is that let 5 come to this side. Y minus equals to 3. Divide both side by what? So that 3 cancels 3, and therefore x equals to y minus 5 over what? You can say x equals to y minus 5 all over 3. We have just made x out of the. Step 3 now says interchange the position of x and y. What does that mean? Anywhere you see x, put y. Anywhere you see y, put n. Let y and x exchange positions. So instead of x equals to y minus 5 over 3, it will be y equals to x minus 5 over. Once you have done this, this is the inverse of the function. This is the inverse of the what? You can now say therefore f inverse equals to x minus 5 all over. Are we together, class? The good thing is that this video posted on the group chat, you can go and watch it. So the come again is ready, you can watch that. Let me log out. Or even any day you forget it, just go back and say, what did he say in that function? Even when you're revising for exam, what did he say in that function part? Let me just go and. So he's doing you a very good favor by doing this. One more time, class, look up. Given the f of x is 3x plus. Step 1, what do? Replace f of x with what? Y. So y is now 3x plus. Step 2, what do? Make x set of the. How do you make x set of the formula? You know what I mean by set of formula, right? You need x to be alone. So plus 5 should come here and become minus. You know, when the number moves from one side to the other, then the sign will change now. From plus 5 to what? So y minus 5 now equals to 3x. Y minus 5 equals to 3. But x is not starting alone, there's still 3 with x, right? How can I remove that 3 from x? Divide both sides by. Divide both sides by. So that x is now standing. X is now y minus 5 over what? X is y minus 5 over. Once you have succeeded in making x set of the formula, interchange the position of x and interchange the positions of x and. So if x equals to y minus 5 over 3, let y come outside, let x go. So y now equals to x minus 5 over. Once you've interchanged the positions, you've gotten the inverse of the. Once you interchange the positions, you've gotten the what? Is that better now, class? Someone should have been looking, if you would have understood this earlier, you should have been looking at it and be saying why I did what I did here now. Is this making sense now? Yeah, let's go. Let's apply what we now understand here. Follow me. Follow me. Follow me. I'll teach this on Saturday, whether you understand or not, don't worry. Eh? No, but I just want you to do the assignment. I'm trying to make you understand small. F of x is x plus 1 all over x plus 2. F of x is x plus 1 all over what? Substitute for f of x as what? Y. First step, right? So y equals to x plus 1 over x plus 2. Follow me. Now make x set of the. This is more difficult because we have x in two sides, up and you want x to be alone. All the x should be in one place. Make it set of the formula. First of all, I cross. So y into bracket x plus 2 equals to x plus. You're following?
Yes, sir.
Expand. Y times x. Y times 2 equals to x plus. I want all the x to be on one side, right? See what I did? At this point, I brought x to this and brought 2y to this. Let x be on one side, let y be on the other. So class, what happens when x comes to this side, the sign will change from positive to. And when plus 2y goes to this side, becomes. Making sense? At this point, class, I need x to be separate. So what? I'll do a factorize x from yx minus x. Factorize x out, right? Class, x is common here, x is common. If I bring out x here, what's many here? If I bring out x, what's many here? 1. When you have successfully factorized, when you expand, class, you still have this back. X times y, yx. X times minus 1, minus. Now that x is alone, I'll divide both sides by y minus. Divide both sides by what? Y minus 1 cancel y minus 1, and x equals to 1 minus 2y all over y minus. I've just made x set of the. Now interchange the position of what? Interchange the positions of what? If x is 1 minus 2y over y minus 1, anywhere you see y, put x. Anywhere you see x, put. Anywhere you see y, put x. Anywhere you see x, put y. So that will be y now equals to 1 minus 2x all over x minus. Once you have done that, you've just gotten the inverse of the
function.
You have just gotten the inverse of the word
Function.
Function. The last assignment. Don't forget, you will still be taught this on Saturday very well. There are a lot of tough things in further math. So if there's any class you don't joke with that further math. You can never really understand it very well in lecture. It's impossible. It's in. And one telling you, for further math, I'm sure. If you have more foundation in physics, you might still understand. But chemistry, but further math, I'm 100% sure that in that crowd in FOS, you cannot understand further math, I'm sure. So don't worry. So if you are not coming for the tutorial, I don't know that you have already failed that further math. It's just sure. There's no two ways about it. I know how many F's I have in my carryover group from further math alone. You can now do the poll in my carryover group. I said, if you fail this, tick. Who failed the highest? What course did they fail the most? 2 courses. One will surprise you. Further math and chemistry. Chemistry was so shocking. Further math and what? People failed others, but the highest in the group, in the carryover group. Further math and that's why we not put it on during the week, so that you will not say you missed it, you have practical. You put it on a day where everybody should be free. You don't need to come to school on Saturday. That money says transport. You spend it when you fail the course. That transport, you're saying, cost of transport, you still spend that money when you fail the course. So you buy that textbook again. Any course you fail, you buy the textbook. So you can be saving the money for the textbook, don't worry. Since you don't want to pay transport, because I have to start Saturday transport, I'll spend money from Monday to Friday. That's Saturday transport. That's not wise. You pay 220,000 for school fees. It's now 2,000 transport that you're not doing like this. Why do you not go and invest 220,000 on your school fees? And you cannot use 2,000 to come and lend it and pass your course. Say, I'm staying 5, 1,500, my salary is 1,000. But you could pay 200 something for school fees. Then come and lend the course. My salary is 1,500, it's expensive. My salary is 2,000. Say no. That money you're saving, say you don't pay transport. Use it and come and buy the textbook next set. Because this is further math. Some of you are in the lecture, you know. If you look at your assignment, you cannot even solve it and you attended the lecture. You were in the lecture, after the lecture finished, and I gave you an assignment to show that he has taught you. And you cannot solve it, you didn't even understand, and you were in the lecture. So don't joke with Saturday class. Don't joke with what? Discipline yourself. Discipline your... Some of your exams will be held on Saturday. GS class set held on Saturday. So you say you don't come to school on Saturday transport, you will not write your exam. So you will not write... That's what it means now. So even as I don't come to school on Saturday, so you will miss your exam. Why do you pay school fees? Go and collect your school fees there. Saturday, chemistry experiment 4. Chemistry experiment. You miss that experiment, don't disturb me during the week. Because we don't have time. For some people have lecture very soon, right? No time. So it's Saturday we have time to teach you, please. And further math. Chemistry experiment 4. I also do the chemistry assignment. You get the chemistry assignment, right? I also do it on Saturday. And experiment 4, chemistry experiment 4, chemistry, then 130, then math 1. Further math, further. What's the next question?
Find the domain.
If f of x equals to what? X plus 12 over what? Class, domain is called a subset. Follow this. Domain is called a what?
Subset.
Y range is called target set. Target. So the domain is a subset, the range is the target set. But there's also another person they call codomain. Most students confuse codomain with range. So we have domain, we have codomain, and we have range. On Saturday I will really break these things down, but time is going. Now, I'm asked to find the domain of this set. The domain of a set are all possible values of x that will make the function to exist, or that will make the function to be continuous. Like continuity and discontinuity of a function. You know what we call continuity and what? Discontinuity of a... The domain of a function are all possible values of x that are real. All real values of x that will make the function to exist. All real values of x that will make the function to do what? So when someone asks to find the domain of a function, you are being asked to find at what point of x does the function exist? At what point of x does the function... Class, and if they gave me a function that is f of x equals to 3x plus 5, and they say find domain of this function. It means what are all the possible values of x that you can put into this function that will make the function to exist. Class, if I put 1 inside this function instead of x, if I replace x with 1, because x represents the domain, class, we use x to represent domain, we use y to represent range. So x is the domain, y is the range. The domain is the independent variable, while the range is the dependent variables. Class, the range is meant to depend on the domain. The range is meant to depend on the domain. So when they say find the domain, they are trying to find x. Find what? But not just one answer. They are asking for a general value of x. What are all the possible values of x that will make this function to exist? Class, if I put 1 into this function, will this function exist?
Yes.
3 times 1 plus 5. Will you have an answer?
Yes.
What does it mean for a function to exist? For a function to exist, it must produce a real number as the final answer. That means any value of x you put into the function to produce a real number, the function exists. The function, any value of x that you put into the function to produce a real means the function exists and means that value of x is a domain. Any value of x that you place into the function and a real answer is gotten, then that value of x is the domain of a function. So if I put 1 into this function, will the function exist? 3 times 1, 3 plus 5.
8.
Is 8 a real number? Yes. What are real numbers? Have I got type of number in this class?
Yes.
Real numbers are all numbers you can think of except imaginary numbers. So a number is either real or imaginary. A number is either real or what? If you're a fraction, you are real. If you're a decimal, you are real. If you're a surd, you are still real. So real numbers, if you're an integer, you're negative, you're positive, you're odd, you're even. As long as you're a number, you are. So any value of x you put into this function that gives you a number is real. Therefore, the domain of this kind of function, this is a linear function. For linear function like this, the domain of the function is all real. The domain of this function is what?
All real numbers.
Or we can say, except all real numbers from minus infinity to positive. There are 2 types of brackets in mathematics. This is a curved bracket, this is a straight bracket. This bracket represents exclusivity. This bracket represents inclusivity. Class, if I write something like this in mathematics, 2 to 5, and I write something like this, 2, 5. They don't mean the same thing. No? Follow me. They don't mean the same. One bracket is curved, one bracket is straight. This curved bracket means excluding 2 and 5. This bracket means list all numbers between 2 and 5, excluding 2 and. What are the numbers between 2 and 5, excluding 2 and 5?
3 and 4.
3 and. But this other bracket means list all numbers from 2 to 5, including 2 and. That's 2, 3. So this bracket represents inclusivity, inclusive bracket. This bracket represents excluding. So any number that is beside this bracket means you will not mention that number, you will not mention that. So all numbers between 2 and 5 except 2 and. But all numbers between 2 and 5, including 2 and. So class, do you know that all numbers in mathematics start from minus infinity to positive? Have you ever thought of the highest number possible? We say uncountable on, so we'll call it infinity. Class, numbers can never finish. Numbers should never. So class, the highest number possible is infinity. When you get to 1,000, you go to million. From million, you go to billion. From billion, you go to. From trillion, you go to zillion. From zillion, you keep going. Numbers never. So the highest number possible is positive infinity. Positive infinity is positive uncountable. And the lowest number possible is negative uncountable. Negative what? So class, the domain of this function is all real number. Because class, imagine, do you know that if you put 100 inside here, will this function exist?
Yes.
If you put 200, will it exist?
Yes.
If you put your school fees into this function, will it exist? Yes. Your house rent, will it exist? Yes. Your transport. Yes. Any number you put into this function, the function will. Yes. So it's not possible for us to write all the numbers, but there are so much. So we say all real. Let me show you that it's not every time that your answer is all real numbers. Look up. There's a number you place into a function, the function will no longer exist. Look up. There's a number you place into a function, the function will no longer, f of x equals to 3 all over x minus 4. You say find the domain of this function. Class, you cannot say all real numbers. Let me tell you why. Anytime you have a fractional function like this, equate the denominator to 0. Equate the denominator to, who is the denominator? X minus 4 equate to what? And solve for x. X must be plus, when minus 4 moves here, it becomes what? Class, are you aware that this 4 can never be our domain?
Yes.
The domain of this function is all real numbers except 4. The domain of this function is all real numbers except, why except 4? Because class, you put 4 into this function, see what will happen? 3 all over 4 minus 4. What is 4 minus 4? 3 divided by 0, punch calculator, punch calculator. 3 divided by 0, math. Anytime calculator tells you math error, it's telling you that the number does not exist. The function does not. So what did we put into the function that made us have math error? 4. What do we put into the function that made us have math error? So therefore 4 cannot be our. So you say all real numbers except
4.
Because is there another number here that will produce 0 below here? Because what caused this function not to exist, that 0 was our denominator. Class, anytime you have 0 as a denominator, no matter what is on top, any body divided by 0, the function will not exist. Any number divided by 0, the function will not. So any number that you place inside your denominator that will make your denominator to have 0, that number cannot be our domain. Because our domain is supposed to make the function to exist. Follow me. Our domain is meant to make the function to. So any number that makes the function not to exist cannot be our. It's giving us math error. How can our domain be math? So you cannot be our what? Domain. You cannot be our what? Class, I want to ask you questions. Can 5 be our domain? Can 5 be our domain?
Yes.
Why? 3 all over 5. We replace x as 5, right? If we say domain is x, we're talking about. Don't forget that f of x is the same thing as y. That's say that when we did inverse. That replaces f of x with what? So y equals to 3 all over x minus 4. So anyway, say of x, can put y. Now follow me. Let's say our domain is 5. Class, follow me. Let's say our domain is what? So anyway I say x, I put 5, right? 3 all over 5 minus. What's 5 minus 4? 3 divided by 1. Did the function exist? So when we put 5 into the function exists. So can 5 be our domain? Any number you put into your function that gives you a positive or a good answer is our domain, is what? So 5 can be our. Can 6 be our domain? Yes. Only 4 is one that will give you 0 under here. Who can think of any other number that you put here that will give you 0 below? It's only 4 that can subtract 4 to give 0. Anything below 4 will give you less than 0. Anything above 4 will give you more than. So only 4 cannot be your domain. So this is a very typical question. Only 4 cannot be your. You can see I'm bringing you from simple to difficult. Because this one now is highest square. You now have square root. And it has a square inside the square root too. Which I told you your lecturer would do. Take simple examples then, classwork. I used to say that in the class, I used to joke about it, right? I said, let's take 2 plus 2, 4. Assignment, square root, all square. Look at it. This is assignment, it's not me that formed it. You can see it yourself. So see where I started from. I started from normal linear function, 3x plus 5. I still came here. This one is the third highest. Or fourth self. But the fourth would have been just this square with that square root. Then the fifth is now the square root with the square. So you went to the highest one for assignment. As I said, if one that just went for lecture, you are not properly prepared for exam because you can take 2-3 examples and you think you have learned it. Wait for exam. If I just look at your assignment, you know that you've not learned anything. So class, 5 is our domain because when you put it into the function existed. Right? But is it only 5 that's our domain?
Yes.
So if someone asks you, what's the domain of this function? We just say 5. No, because not only 5 that can make this function to exist. 6 can make the function to exist too. 7 can enter here and the function will. If I put 7 here, class, 3 all over 7 minus 3 all over 7 minus 4. 3 divided by 3. You see, 7 gave us an answer. It produces a. If I put a number into here and I got a negative answer, is that number our domain?
Yes.
Class, I want to ask you questions.
Yes.
I want to see if you are following this. What if I use x as 2? 2. Class, follow me, 2. Let my domain be 2. 3 all over 2 minus 4.
Minus 2.
3 divided by minus 2 is minus 3 over. Class, because I got a negative answer, is 2 my domain?
Yes.
Yes. Because whether you're negative answer or positive answer, you are still a real number. You are still what? As long as it produces a real number, that value of x is our. Even if you have a fraction, you have a decimal. Class, as long as you're a number, one way or the other, you are okay. But when the one that will not make sure our domain is when you're having math error, there's nothing even come out. No decimal. Yeah, give us sword now. Give us sword even looks still correct. Anything. All numbers in mathematics are real. Except imaginary number. How do you know imaginary number? They carry I, right? They carry I. So class, if when I put 2 into this function, what's my final answer? Minus 3 over 2. Class, domain is what you put into your function. Range is what you get out of your. So I put 2 into the function. Domain. What did I get out of the function? Minus 3 over. So minus 3 over 2 is my range. Is my what? Sometimes I can give you a domain and I have to find the range. Domain is what you put into the. People have started making me teach already. Domain is what you put into the what? Range is what comes out of the function after the domain has entered into the. So I put 2 into this function, I got minus 3 over range. When I put 5 into this function, I got 3. 3 is my. Class, are you following? Let's now go to the assignment. Some of you that used to send me assignment on WhatsApp, so you see why sometimes I'm a bit skeptical, it's because you don't even understand. I said, bring it to class, bring it to. She see all the steps I took. I can't do this on WhatsApp. I said, that's why anybody send me, he's sending me, I like somebody that said, you always send me assignment, send me. You say, I'll just send it to the group. I said, okay, so I will not forget to do it. All the assignment, if they send me assignment, I'll post on the general view. I'll post on the general. I'm saving it for exam sake too. In when exam period come, I will revise all the assignment with you again. Some of them will come out in exam. As I told you, once you finish your practical, we'll now start an example course class. Serious example course. We are still joking now because your practical is taking time, other things. When you have finished your clearance, you have finished everything, I'll start example course. All the assignments I'm saving for you is for your own good. Most every day I'll be posting assignments on the group, I'll post it. If this was they gave us here, they gave us here. All the assignments in all the yours is on our group. I just go and post it there, post it. I know what I'm doing. Because every assignment is a hint towards exam as well. Now follow me. Domain of this function class must depend on the denominator, on the what? Denominator. Class. For a square root function, if they gave me just a square root, follow me. If they gave you just a what? Interesting. Yes. Y equals to square root x plus 3, and they say find the domain of this function. Y equals to square root x plus 3. Find the domain of this. Make sure you are still here. Make sure your mind is still here. You can be sitting down, your mind is no more here. You're in your kitchen. Your mind is in your kitchen. Make sure you are. Y equals to square root x plus 3. And they say find the domain. I want to teach you how to find the domain of a square root function without it being in a fraction first. Before now showing you what it means to be in a fraction. Class, are you aware that the square root of a negative number will make the function not to exist?
Yes.
Type square root of any negative number in your calculator is math error. Math. Square root of minus 2, math error. Square root of minus 3, math. Square root of minus anything, math. The square root of a negative number is math error. So class, any value of x to put into this function that will lead us to have a negative inside the square root cannot be our domains. Any value of x to put into this function that will lead us to have a negative number cannot be our what? It means that x plus 3 must be greater than or equal to 0. It means that x plus 3 must be greater than or equal to what? For this function to exist. Class, if I put minus 3 into this function, what is minus 3 plus 3?
0.
Minus 3 plus 3 is what? 0. Does the square root of 0 exist?
Yes.
Yes. The square root of 0 does what?
Exist.
The square root of 0 is still
0.
The square root of 0 is what?
0.
It exists. The square root of 0 exists. But class, anything less than 0 doesn't what?
Exist.
Class, if I bring plus 3 to this, what does it become?
Minus 3.
So class, the domain of this function is all values of x that are greater than or equal to minus 3. The domain of this function is all values of x that are what? Greater than or equal to what?
Minus 3.
That means equal to means that minus 3 is included. Minus 3 can be our domain, class. Minus 3 can be our what? Minus 3 plus 3 is 0, right? Square root of 0 is 0, it exists, right? As long as you exist, you can be our domain. When you start having material, it can be our domain. Class, the domain of function is all real numbers greater than or equal to minus 3. Meaning that any number that is less than minus 3 cannot be our... Let me show you why. What is the first number that is less than minus 3? Minus 4. Minus 4 is less than minus 3, right? Minus 4 is less than... Who is bigger, minus 3 or minus 4?
Minus 3.
Minus 3 is bigger than minus 4. Meaning that minus 4 is lesser than minus... So, do you know that minus 4 cannot be our domain? Because it doesn't satisfy this rule. Because we said the domain must be all values of x that are greater than or equal to minus... The domain is only all values of x that are greater than or equal to minus 3. Greater than or equal to minus 3. Is minus 4 greater than minus 3? No. Is it equal to minus 3? So it cannot be our domain. What minus 5? Can it be our domain? Minus 6. So minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 7, minus 7 till infinity cannot be our... Because let me show you, we put minus 4 into this equation. What is minus 4 plus 3?
Minus 1.
Minus 1. As long as you have landed a negative in the square root, you are already having math error. The function does not exist. The function will not, and once the function did not exist, that person that made the function not to exist cannot be our domain. Who did we put inside that made the function not to exist?
Minus 4.
Minus
4.
4. Therefore, minus 4 cannot be our domain. Minus 5 can also be our... Minus 6 cannot be our domain. So class, the domain of this function is all real numbers. All real, if I want to write, I can say dom F is a set of x so that x is... I want to write in mathematical form. And x is greater than or equal to minus 3. Write in this form. That means domain of F is a set of x so that x is all real. This membership is set, remember. This symbol stands for member. It's all real numbers and x must be greater than or equal to what?
Minus 3.
Minus 3. Now class, back to the assignment. You see all the layers I have to overcome before I now go to the assignment. See why when you send me something online, says I'll do this, but I have to explain to you, I have to come down and show you. So to look as if I didn't reply or anything, no. You need someone, can you do it on WhatsApp? This is assignment voice note on mathematics. I'll now be just square root in voice notes. Square root, so the domain will just be lost. Just waste of time. So I say bring it to class. Bring it to class. Now, please. But keep sending me the assignments so I can post it on the group. When you don't come to class, we'll do it. Now, this guy now, let's assume this was our function. Class, this guy is inside another function as a denominator, right? But let's bring him out as just a function on his own. If we have to find the domain of y equals to square root s squared minus 9. If we have to find the domain of what? Y equals to square root s squared minus 9. Class, what is the domain of this function? Don't forget what I did here. S squared minus 9 must be greater than or equal to what? 0. For the function to exist, s squared minus 9 must be greater than or equal to what? 0. So the s squared is now greater than or equal to positive 9, right? When minus 9 comes, it becomes positive, right? Find the square root of both.
X equals 3.
Every square root comes with plus or minus. So square root of 9 is plus 3 or minus. Plus 3 or what? Class. If you put 3 into this function, the function will exist. Oh, did I say equal to? Greater than or equal to? S must be greater than or equal to plus or minus 3. Because this is inequality now. So S must be greater than or equal to plus or minus 3 is the domain of this function. Class, what are all the numbers that are greater than or equal to minus 3?
Minus 2. Minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 0.
Greater than or equal to 3. Let's use 3. We'll not use minus. I know why. But normally every square comes plus or minus. Let's use 3. Square root of 9 is 3. Now, we put 3 into this equation. 3 square minus 9. What we have? 3 square is what?
9 minus
9 minus 9. Square root of 0 exists, is 0, right? You put 4. 4 square is 16. 16 minus 9. Square root of is still. Now, what will you put here that will make this function not to exist? 2. You must be greater than or equal to 3. You put 2 into this function. 2. 2 square minus 9, right? Watch. What's 2 square?
4.
4 minus 9. Minus. Square root of minus 5, math. The square root of minus 5, math. It doesn't
Exist.
So any number that is less than 3 will not make this function to. The only number that is less than 3 that will make this function to exist is minus 3. Minus what? Why? Because the square of a negative number is positive. If you put minus 3 square here, you still have positive. Minus 9 minus plus 3 square. 9 minus 9. Square root of 0 exists, right?
Yes.
So class, the domain of this function now is x, all values of x, all values of what? Greater than,
Equals to.
let me just use the sign, greater than or equal to what? This is greater than or equal to what? 3, right? And minus 3, and only what? All values of x that are greater than or equal to minus or are equal to 3 and minus. That means for you to be a domain of this function must be equal to 3 or greater than 3. If you are less than 3, you cannot be a domain of this. The only person that is less than 3 that can be a domain of this function is who?
Minus 3.
Minus 3. And you know why? Because in a peculiar equation, minus 3 times minus 3 is positive.
9.
And 9 minus 9 gives you 0. Yes. Last question. Yeah, we'll get it. Just sit down. Wait for me. I'll soon. Eh? Minus 3 and?
Minus 20.
That's true. Numbers less than minus 3. Numbers less than minus 4 will still give us positive 16. So we have to be careful here. This is a square. This is a what? That's actually true. Smart. That's a smart contribution. It's true. That's actually what? So we would have to go back to the drawing table. Look up again. We'd have to go back to the drawing table. If you put minus 2 here, it will not exist, of course. If you put minus 3 here, it will exist. If you put minus 4, it will
Exist.
So class, if you watch, it now looks like, first of all, x must be greater than or equal to 3, and x at the same time. Now, those numbers that we put here that will make the function to exist must be minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6. They will all exist, right? When you square them, they will have a bigger number that will subtract 9. So, who are these numbers? What can you say about these numbers? Now, it means that from the only numbers that will not make this function to exist are 0, are minus 2, minus 1, follow me, 0, 1, and 2. Class, these are the only real numbers. So they are even few. These are the only numbers that will make this function not to. Minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, and 2. So we say the domain of this function, domain of, is all real numbers minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, and all real numbers minus this, minus it will be 0 exists. Square root of 0 exists. Is it here? I've not come here yet. I'm doing this as a function on its own without it being under. I'm solving this as square root of x squared minus 9 without it being as a denominator yet. I'll still come back to when it's not a denominator. Do you understand? So I want the students to first understand that this function can be on its own, and what is the definition of domain can change depending on where it's found. So as it's found on its own here, the domain is this. But when found here now, the requirement will change again. Because class, these are the domains of this function when it's on its own. But class, come in here now to this, to the main assignment now. But why do we list these numbers that they cannot be our domain? When you put into this function, you have a negative, right?
Yes.
Minus 2 squared is 4. 4 minus 9 is minus 5. Minus 1 squared is 1. 1 minus 9 is minus 8. 0 squared is 0. 0 minus 9 is minus 9. 1 squared is 1. 1 minus 9 minus 8. 2 squared is 4. 4 minus 9 minus 5. Are you saying it? But any other number you put here, the function will exist. But look at this class. X plus 2 all over square root x squared minus 9. Class, in this particular one, you must not have 0 as the denominator. So there are two things you must not have. First of all, you must not have a negative in the square root. Because the negative of a square root is math error. The negative of a square root is math error. And apart from that, you must not have 0. Because if we have 0 in the denominator, square root of 0 is what? Class, follow please. The square root of 0 is what? And anybody on top divided by 0, math. So we are guiding against two things. We are guiding against what? Two things. Is there another lecture supposed to hold now? What lecture? CSC. For which department? Microbiology, you have CSC today? What time? Where is the venue? That faculty of computing. Now let me just finish this quickly. See why Saturday is important. Don't joke with Saturday. Now, class, the meaning of this function now, follow me. Anything that will produce 0 here cannot be our domain. Who will give us 0 below here?
3.
3 square will give us 0.
Minus 3.
Also, minus 3 will give us
0.
Because 3 squared is 9. 9 minus 9.
0.
Minus 3 squared is also 9. 9 minus 9. These two guys can never be our domain first. Now, apart from these two guys, we also have some set of numbers that we know before that cannot be our domain. When this function was on its own, what are those set of numbers? Minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2. So adding minus 3 and 3 to them, we have what? Minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. All these people cannot be our what? Domain. So class, our domain of this function, final answer to this assignment, domain of function f is all real numbers are minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2. All real numbers minus this. Minus what? All real numbers minus this cannot be our what? Domain. That's the answer to this question. Because all these numbers will make the function not to exist. All these numbers make the function not to do what? Exist.